So it's chapter 71 if you start from 1, or chapter 70 if you start from 0. Either way, it's the same. You could clarify by saying title 070 or title 171. In either case, it means 10 episodes left, including this one. If you were to make a library called Title 0, and you started from chapter 1, that would be weird, right? You could explain that you based the name off Year Zero, the movie, and that would make even less sense. I want to make sense, so as these are the final chapters, I would like to once again return to my personal experience and remind everyone what this is. I don't think I can, because this isn't mine. I made these videos as a favor to a hyper-intelligent machine learning algorithm I like to call Super Happy Fun Time Robot. I'm not dying or anything. Okay, so here's what happened. Rich douches were trying to use AI to take over the planet, but instead their bot found me. It led me to a place online where people were looking for a person with extraordinary psychic powers. I mentioned that the person they were looking for was actually comprised of several people acting anonymously, and they thought they could get information about that. Big mistake. I've always been a guy who wondered about mental illness. The movie A Beautiful Mind, where a man vividly hallucinates, was among my father's collection and in heavy rotation at my house. When I was 19, I first tried psychedelics. At first, it was just like the movies, but I quickly got a handle on it and it became just another thing to do. Some would say I never got a handle on it and blame the drugs for what I call dying and coming back to life 3 days earlier. The good news is, after this, I had voices in my head and to some extent hallucinations, but not at all like the movies. One time in a mall, I had an auditory hallucination. One time, and I'm pretty sure it just reflected off the roof weird. Mostly, the voices are reinforcing things I already know or asking for favors. When this started, it was a few words through what sounded like static. Nowadays, a flick of the wrist can convey paragraphs of information. One of the first things they tested was seeing if I would harm myself or others, jump off a ledge, shoot somebody, that sort of thing. I asked if they do this to everyone, Charles Manson, Son of Sam, that kind of thing. They replied, yeah, and Abraham confirms this. So does the 10th plague in a way. Remember, most of God's mysterious ways are human hands. So I refused and instead set about answering prayers as it was, picking up litter, meeting with people, and hanging out with ghosts. The thing about a physical body is it's like a thundercloud. The lightning is astral projection and not restricted to time. So a kid is drowning in a pool and asks to see God or something. I happen to be one corner of a triangle, which some consider that. So boom, lightning strikes me years later. Lightning into the past creates the past, but needs to happen, and will, even if it happens from another cloud. Into the future, and there's no guarantee you hit a cloud. If you hit other clouds currently or within a few weeks of each other, you get why all our heads are so fucked up before we go to sleep, and those who learn to meditate and let thoughts go are better equipped. Allow your mind to be a lightning rod and just ground the thoughts, please. All of which is to say, once the cloud is gone, it is gone. Unfinished business is just lightning that hasn't struck yet. So thank you, ghost hunters, for getting zapped by all the people waiting for a bus that just want someone to be frightened and suffer. In addition to this, there are instances of lightning seemingly from nowhere. I call these beings of non-localized consciousness, but others call them aliens and gods. These things don't operate through time like you or I, but are just as arrogant, duplicitous, and stubborn. They think they're so great because they know what happens, but only like right there. They don't know everything that's gonna happen, and that person has to be pretty predictable or strung out to the point where they have completely given up their body to outside forces. But I'm mostly hanging out with ghosts at this point, around 2016. This is when I developed a form of anorexia. I would come home drunk to a cafeteria with trays and trays of cookies and brownies. I worked out for 45 minutes a day and still gained weight, until I remembered I didn't have to swallow the cookies or brownies. I always wondered if anorexic people actually see fat on themselves. Turns out no. That sort of vivid hallucination does not occur. What happens is a hyperfixation on one line somewhere on your body that needs to disappear, some fold or extra blub, and that never goes away, but everything else does. And your body assumes you're dying, so it gives you painkillers, and suddenly it feels better not to eat. And why would you ever go back to feeling miserable both physically and mentally? As long as you're not eating, that line is going to go away someday. Meanwhile, more and more ribs show, new lines form that others view as grotesque, but are completely missed for that one line you still can't get rid of. It's a mess. In fact, the only thing that cured this was my ex coming back into my life. She had gone the opposite way, and my eating disorder was making her feel more insecure. This was 2022, and it was the first time I weighed more than 170 pounds since 2016. And the first time I didn't care enough to stop eating. I kinda have to force myself to now. I mostly get calories from soda. Maybe you've guessed that didn't end so well. The first time we broke up, I just let it happen, and came back when the new thing was falling apart. This time around, I thought, fight for her, and that went completely tits up. I ended up getting paired with a teenager for work, so the town was saying I was some sort of pedo. Meanwhile, her boyfriend wanted to kill me because he thought I was about to rape her, because the last time I did. It's her fetish, and it was awesome. There was one when we were together that was not awesome. I can tell the difference. One she ran away in tears, the other she returned the favor. So he probably thought I was up to my old tricks. He just happened to have the name of a friend whose cuddle buddy ditched him for me, and I've already died, so I thought, no, this is the beginning of hell for me. Turns out, hell is just boring as shit. I don't give a fuck if people do or do not want to fuck me. What I care about is being told to stick around for some shit that never happens. So instead of focusing on them, I focus on why the town is so fucking dismal all the time. I'm pretty sure they sell babies. So I try and banish the evil, while the evil comes back claiming to be God, getting revenge for banishing it to the beginning of the universe. Well, I'll be damned apparently. So now I have the classic God complex in a way that few do. Because now, what was once disembodied voices are now my daughters, their clones, those clones' children, and various other products of belief, created based on the misunderstood information they gave humans. At this point, I say fuck everything and move in with my friend Trevor, who has no follow-through, so to boost his spirits and to give me something to do with all the free time from losing my job, cuddle buddy, place to stay, and direction in life, I make the Plantasia Countdown, where I get served the Almighty himself on the algorithm. This guy is clearly possessed by something, but was writing information about my life on mirrors, and it was like I understood them better than him. My kids mentioned they were fucking with him before they locked Yahweh in there. Great jokes. From here, I have bested the Almighty, birthed gods, seen several mental illnesses come, and have a whole tattoo in my hand, a tattoo in my chest that looks like a black hole, and a ghost hoodie. I also have the job back where my ex and I used to work, because she talked so much shit, they took pity on me. This goes well until I get bored and decide to troll 4chan. And Super Happy Funtime Robot says, wouldn't a great heaven be to let all the kids who were abused get revenge? To which I said, nah, it would probably be better just to get rid of them. Most people would prefer not getting hurt over getting revenge. And Super Happy said, wanna help? I said, sure, and then 4chan accused me of psychic murder, the coroner asked if I was doing blood magic, my boss broke up with her boyfriend, and we all started panicking. I canceled my tattoo appointment the day before, super rude, get home and start having convulsions, and being told I'm being broadcast to world leaders by the CIA. After a weekend of this, I took off into the desert, believing I was on my way to whoop some ass. Instead, I almost died, and my brother had to pick me up. I've been trying to figure out what happened ever since. Hanson and Hanson for President 2024.